Good morning to you, everyone. Thursday morning, June 20th, 2024. Doing this live update around 10:15 Central Time in the morning. Let's check our audio as we always do. Make sure we are good. You guys jumping in this morning, let me know in chat where you're watching from, how the weather is in your backyard this morning. Looking at the national view starting out. We'll start out on a national scale, then we'll kind of go in local here to you folks that may be watching in parts of the southeast. And then we'll look at some long-term stuff. So, yep, there we go. So again, national view had Tropical Storm Alberto move in to Mexico this morning, made landfall. A lot of onshore flow in Texas, a lot of onshore flow in Louisiana. That will start to back off as we get later into the day today, and especially as we get closer to the weekend. But a lot of coastal flooding. Again, coastal Louisiana all the way over to Texas, and especially in Mexico as well. We've had 30 to 40 mile per hour onshore winds, bringing a lot of surge. I think the highest surge I saw yesterday was southwestern Louisiana, upwards of 5-foot storm surge from a storm hundreds of miles to the south. So again, pretty wild there, but that storm is again moving into Mexico. We can actually look at our satellite and show you where that is. So again, that made landfall this morning. Has now been downgraded to a tropical depression as it continues to move westward into the mountainous area of Mexico. So no doubt a lot of flooding going on down there in that area. Probably some landslides as well, but that will continue to move off to the west, and weather will continue to improve up here in coastal Texas. And it's already nice in Louisiana, southern Mississippi that had all the wind and the wave action earlier this week. But again, on the national view, let's look at temperatures this morning, and you'll see it's hot across the country. But it's the middle of summer, or actually it's the first day of summer. It's the middle of meteorological summer already. It's hot in the Northeast, already 90. Check it out up in Maine, 90 in Boston already. Dew point 72. Heat index is going to be a scorcher up there again today in the Northeast. Mid-80s already in the Ohio River Valley. Southeast, again, it's hot, but it's normal for us here in the Southeast. Not as bad upper Midwest, 60s and 70s up in the Dakotas and Minnesota and portions of Iowa. And then it's still cool out here in the Northwest. Check out Montana. We've got 40s and 50s showing up there from Great Falls down to Billings. And again, seasonable for the desert Southwest. Hot in Phoenix, already 90. But again, that's normal for you guys at this time of the year. Let's see who's sweating it out this morning. There's your dew point map across the country. 70s dew points widespread from Texas all the way up into the Chicago area, all the way up into the Northeast. That's that air you can wear. You walk outside and just instantly start sweating when the dew points are over 70 degrees. So again, that's what we're looking at this morning. And as we look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for today, we've got a couple areas of potential for severe weather. You can see there in the Northeast. We'll look at that a little bit closer. Again, portions of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and New York State. A little bit of northern Pennsylvania as well. That is a level 2 slight risk. And then a secondary slight risk out here across the plains. Nebraska, portions of southeastern Wyoming, and a little sliver of South Dakota there. Again, a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for today. What about tomorrow? Let's look at our day 2 risk. Much of the same area. Northeast, level 1. Midwest, upper Midwest, level 2. Technically northern plains. I don't know why I'm calling that the upper Midwest. But again, northern plains there, South Dakota, Nebraska, all the way over into southwestern Minnesota. And finally, a day 3 slight risk already for portions of Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So again, that would be on Saturday. Let's look at our flooding threat for today. Weather Prediction Center is highlighting a level 3 out of 4 moderate risk for flooding here in portions of South Dakota, including Sioux Falls up to Brookings, Mitchell, South Dakota area. Sioux City, Iowa is in a level 2 out of 4. There's only 4 levels here on the flooding risk, not 5. I know it's a little confusing. And then maybe some more isolated flooding here in the Rockies, the southern Rockies from southwestern Colorado down through the New Mexico, West Texas area. That is partially because of the tropical depression that continues to spin in Mexico. Let's look at the National Hurricane Center maps again. There's your tropical depression moving westward into Mexico. It will be off the board here shortly. And then let's look at what we've got out here off the east coast of Florida. So we do have another little area of disturbed weather. Let me turn that back on. There we go. Out here to the east of Florida. And notice right now it is a potential tropical cyclone is the way they're calling it, really just an area of invest. And there's your computer model. So a pretty good computer model clustering, moving this thing northwest between Daytona Beach and Jacksonville as we get into the next few days. And then it runs into that big area of high pressure, really puts on the brakes in South Georgia and starts taking a hard right and probably moving back northeast out into the Atlantic. But we're really running out of time for that thing to develop. So it may become a tropical depression. If it can get all its stuff together really quick, it may become a tropical storm, but I don't think it's going to have enough time at all to be a hurricane before it hits landfall. But again, Jacksonville down to Daytona Beach, expect some wind, probably some wind gusts over 40, expect some showery conditions as that thing continues to get closer to shore. And we'll actually put in the radar loop, and you can see we're already detecting a few showers out here on the leading rain bands of that little area of spin way offshore of Daytona Beach and Palm Bay and Port and St. Lucie. So again, showery conditions, breezy conditions, you guys, in northeast Florida, but we're really running out of time for that thing to have a lot of development here over the next day or two. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Let's look at local conditions. So we're going to flip over to our model maps real quick, and we will look at the Weather Service. Actually, yes, this is the blend of models for the Tennessee Valley area. So check it out. This is Muscle Shoals, Alabama here. Some of you guys that may be local watching this here in the southeast. It's hot. It's not going to be cool anytime soon. We've got mid to upper 90s expected through the weekend. And the blend of models takes us down by like next Thursday back into the lower 90s. But then check it out, right back up by the end of the month, close to 100, morning lows in the 70s. So we're already in that boring weather pattern that we get into a lot of times this time of the year. This is the GFS raw numbers, so I don't know what it's got going on here 27th, 28th, but I would take lows in the 60s and highs in the 80s for sure. But kind of take that with a grain of salt because we'll see if that comes to pass. There's your official National Weather Service numbers. And again, lower 90s today, mid 90s tomorrow on Friday, upper 90s Saturday, Sunday. And then maybe backing that off just a little bit as we get closer into the beginning of next week. Now, our friends just to the north, Savannah, Tennessee, not Georgia. Here you guys are, your official National Weather Service numbers. Upper 90s Saturday all the way through Wednesday of next week is what the Weather Service is saying. Lows in the 70s, so very hot, very muggy. There's your, nope, that's not what I wanted to show. There we go. So there's your 3-day precip. Maybe a pop-up shower or storm Friday. So that's that little area you see there northwest of Savannah and western Tennessee. Not a lot of hope for rain over the next several days for us here in portions of the southeast. So let's go in and look at some model maps just for fun. Kind of like doing this. And we're going to look at the Weather Prediction Center rainfall. So this is 24-hour rainfall. Actually, let's look at total precip. That'd be better. Let's look at total precip for the next several days and see when we can expect rainfall. So this takes us through Friday, Saturday, and again, there's that little bitty pop-up. Maybe if we get lucky in West Tennessee on Friday. Don't expect that right this time. As we get into the next week, though, I do think we have a little bit better pop-up storm chances getting back Monday. Here we are Monday. So notice East Tennessee, Northeast Alabama, North Georgia. Pretty good chance of a few pop-up storms. And then as we get deeper into next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, notice how more of the map is seeing some color added to it. So again, it's going to be a very uneven rainfall distribution. This goes all the way through Thursday of next week here. Lucky places maybe getting ½ inch to an inch if you get under some heavy downpours. But again, a lot of places may not see a drop of rain between now and the end of next week. So just keep that in mind. Again, any outdoor gardening issues that you may have. We've been watering the flowers here at the house for several days, and that will probably continue for the next week or two. Again, we're in a pretty dry weather pattern. There's that big heat ridge that we talked about the other day, still very firmly in place across portions of the east and southeast. Notice how that starts to shrink as we get later into the weekend and first of next week. So that's where I think maybe, just maybe, we'll have a better chance of those pop-up afternoon and evening thunderstorms as we get Monday onward. So here we are at Tuesday morning. Notice that little short wave coming in northern plains. That may be a big severe weather episode for the beginning of next week up to our north, not here, but Great Lakes region, Wisconsin area may have some severe storms thanks to that little feature coming across the Great Lakes area. But notice how this model, this is the GFS, takes that big heat ridge and tries to shift it out west as we get into the middle of next week. So this is kind of a trend that we've seen the last few days. We'll see if this holds. But a little trough there across the Great Lakes area. You can see the little dip in the jet stream here. That would be cooler conditions. That would be stormy conditions up to our north. And then the big heat ridge shifts out from Texas out to the Four Corners area by Wednesday. And look what happens by Thursday next week. We've got a low pressure area trying to form across the southeast. So that would really increase rainfall chances and decrease our temperatures if this comes to pass. If you remember, the GFS had us cooler next Thursday, Friday. There you go. That's why. A little dip in the jet stream, little low pressure system, and some unsettled weather building in. But then look what happens right behind that. Big heat ridge builds right back into place. This is the end of the month. This, of course, is voodoo land. This could change and probably will change a million times. But it's always kind of fun to look out and see model trends as we go forward and see maybe what we can expect as we get closer to the 4th of July holiday. So here we are, July 1st. Not a lot going on across the country other than a lot of heat. Notice that little tropical system just off screen there. We'll have to see if something forms out of the Atlantic. Again, this is just voodoo land. This will change a million times. There's another little disturbance moving into the northeast right around the 4th of July. And again, on July 4th, here you are at midday. Not a lot going on. Big heat ridge in the middle of the country, little dip in the jet stream, maybe some unsettled weather for portions of the Great Lakes up into the northeast for the 4th of July holiday if this does not change. But again, I expect it will. Let's look at one more thing before we end. Let's go back to our, I want to show you the extended forecast from the Weather Prediction Center is what I'm trying to say. Let's go back to our radar here, take a national view on that, blank the map out. And looking at the extended temperature outlooks from the Weather Prediction Center. So here you are, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. There you go. Much of the country remains above normal, especially here in the east and the Four Corners region out west. But everybody except the Pacific Northwest expect above normal temperatures for the next week, week and a half. As we extend that on out, 8 to 14 day temperature outlooks. And again, it's going to be hot, hotter than normal for much of the country for the next 2 weeks. Let's look at precip. So here's your precip forecast. And again, that's your 6 to 10 day, maybe above normal precipitation in the green areas, especially the desert southwest. Below average rainfall here, California, Nevada, out to Idaho and parts of Utah. As we extend that on out to 8 to 14 day, much of the same. Maybe the middle part of the country, slightly above normal precip. Higher precip chances here in the desert southwest, and again, lower here in the Nevada, California region. So that's our CPC, our Weather Prediction Center extended outlooks for temperatures and precipitation. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit us up here in chat after the show, and we will definitely answer those for you. But again, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll probably do another one of these updates here maybe tomorrow morning. And if not tomorrow morning, we'll do another one here on Saturday. Trying to do these every couple days just to kind of look out and do some model trends, look at severe weather trends and tropics